Actually, when we are trying to get the task on whichever task, if there is any update,
Sorry.
when we are creating a flow for that second requirement
Video,
using
video,
record triggered flow.
video on the.
Okay.
So for task, what condition we have to put?
It's not only task. You need to do multiple things with these requirements. Okay.
I'm not getting the logic for second requirement actually.
Okay. Okay. So logic you need to like think it. So that's why I gave the requirement to you. So it's not only like condition. You need to like implement with multiple things with this. One moment, I'm getting a call.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I hope you are able to see my screen, right?
Yeah, Shrikant.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm
Wait,
asking about like this requirement. Is everyone clear with the requirement? What you need to do and what you need to achieve here?
Yes, yes.
So anyone having any
Shrikant,
question? Requirement?
hello, Shrikant.
Yeah.
Regarding first requirement, I did in simple way like mm,
Yeah. First
first
requirement is
I
simple. Okay, that is
first I
fine.
condition I have given and then get the record, then update record. That's it.
Okay.
Aarti did in different way. Aarti,
Okay.
I did it with a loop.
Mm-hmm.
so this is the best approach. Like means without loop also I'm getting update and with loop also
Directly you
that.
can go with update here.
Sorry?
So directly you can update the values. That's not like no
without
need to go
using
with.
for loop also we can do it. Shrikant.
So directly you can go with the update operation. So you can add a update event. So with the help of that you can directly update. So no need to go with the multiple things.
Directly we can get the record and update. That's it.
Yes.
Finish. Okay. Second, we are doing currently means logic we are not able to build, but still we are trying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Shweta, are you able to understand what we are discussing?
Yeah, Shrikant. First one is
Yes.
completed first scenario. Okay. And second one I'm not getting but I'm trying to do.
Okay. Meghna, what about you?
Yes, sir.
So are you able to understand what we are discussing?
Yes, sir.
Means flows concept. So what are the flows
Yes,
we?
sir. But I not practice, sir.
That's fine.
I,
So do you know Telugu or
I know Telugu అని.
okay? సో వస్తుందా నీకు మంచిగా అర్థమవుతుందా ఇది?
అవును సార్, అర్థమవుతాను సార్. కానీ ఇంకా నేను బేసిక్స్లో ఉన్నాను సార్.
ఓకే ఓకే పర్లేదు బట్ అంటే అర్థమవుతుంది కదా నీకు?
అర్థమవుతాను.
ఓకే.
అర్థమవుతాను.
సో ఏమైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉంటే కొంచెం అడిగి ప్రాబ్లం లేదు, డైరెక్ట్గా అడిగేసాయి, ఇబ్బంది పడకు.
ఓకే సార్.
Okay, so I'm going to explain this scenario one more time, and then I will give the instructions how you need to implement this requirement. So if everyone clear what we need to implement here, so then after we can go for the implementation. Okay, so yesterday we discussed it, right? It is one of the common requirement in majority of the projects. So maybe they can go for lead object, or they can go for like opportunity, or they can go for like some another object. So in opportunity we are having stages, right? When we are like moving from one stage to the another stage, at the time these tasks should be completed. So based on the task completed, they are going to mark the opportunity stage. So in the case of we are having a prospect stage, and then like a needs analysis, for each and everything they are having a task. So if the task is completed, right, automatically the stage they need to move from one stage to the another stage. So they are having a requirement like that. So it is one of the common requirement. Okay, so you are like continuously asking like a real-time scenarios, real-time requirement, right? It is one of the common requirement in majority of the projects. So 70 to 80% of the project, they are using this kind of requirement. They may be using for like different objects, but common requirement. So first of all, what we are trying to do here, it is so we are having a lead record. Under this record, we are having a task records is there. So the requirement here, it is directly they don't want to update lead status. So what they need to do, so based on the task creation, so whenever lead record is created, by default multiple tasks they are going to create it. So depending upon the lead type and lead category, so based on that they are going to create a multiple task. And then what they are going to do, they are going to like simply mark the task status. So if all the task under that lead is completed, then only we are going to mark the corresponding lead status as completed. If any one of the task is still open, then we need to keep that lead status is open only. Okay, so whenever you are going to complete this corresponding task, okay, so then automatically the lead status should be marked as completed. So here, if you consider scenario L2, okay, so lead to record, under this lead to record we are having two records is there, two task records is there. One is task 4 and another one is task 5. So here task 4 already completed, and then task 5 status is in progress. Okay, so actual status is task 4 is already completed, task 5 is in progress. So now the lead status is basically open only. So in the case of if any one of the like these tasks trying to like mark as completed, so now what we are trying to do, so T5 task we are trying to mark as completed from in progress. If you're like trying to mark it as completed, then it need to validate is there any open task under that lead is available or not. So if there is no open task, then what you need to mark the current status is completed. You need to mark the corresponding lead status is completed. Okay, so that is our requirement. So sometimes these kind of requirements you will get in a different way. So if any one of the task is already completed, but any new task is created, or like any task is marked from complete to the like open or like in progress, they change the status. At that time, again we need to reopen lead status. So it is common requirements for all the projects. Okay, so now if you would like to achieve this requirement, what we need to first we need to identify the corresponding object name on which object we need to implement this trigger. Okay, so then after you the corresponding event names we need to use it here. Okay, so what is that object name on which object we need to implement these corresponding flow or trigger.
Task object.
Sure, task or lead.
Mm. Yes.
So we need to implement on task or lead.
Task.
Arthi, where we need to implement it?
Task.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So here we are trying to mark as status from in progress to the complete of task record, so that DML operation performing on task object, so that the object where you are going to create a record trigger flow is basically task. Okay, and then events. So events is basically sometimes we are going to consider insert scenario as well. So whenever you are trying to create a new task directly completed, so that is a highly impossible scenario. But sometimes the business they're going to ask such kind of exceptional cases as well. But generally, so for these kind of requirements, we should go with only update scenario. Whenever task status is updated, so then only we are going to verify, and then we need to update parent status. So here events is basically I am going to consider after update, after update. So as per the flow, what you are going to do, you need to verify initial condition. So you are going to like implement the condition, right? So in this condition, we are having a initial condition here. So here what you are going to do, you are going to verify task status is completed, previously not equal to completed. So currently it is like completed, previously it was not completed. Okay, so you need to like verify condition over here. So once you are done with this one, So then after, what you need to do, you need to use get records. Very simple solution. I'm trying to explain. Very simple solution. Get records. You need to simply use this get record option. So if these get records with these get records, what you are going to do, you need to fetch task record. You need to fetch task record. The parent id is equal to our task parent id. So what you are going to do, so you need use get record option. Within this get record, what you are going to do, so task parent id equal to parent id equal to our record dot parent id, record dot parent id. So here what you are going to do, if you're able to implement these corresponding record here, so these corresponding records here. So if you're getting multiple records, right, then you need to use one more decision just to verify it. If the record size is more than one, so here you need to add one more condition. The condition is first condition is parent id equal to record dot parent id. And what you need to do, so status equal to status not equal to completed, status not equal to completed. So these kind of like a query you need to build it. Okay, in your get records, what you need to do, you need to implement two condition. First condition is parent id not equal to record dot parent id, and status not equal to completed. So if you're able to implement get records, then automatically what happen, you are going to fetch the records are currently in open states. Okay, so if there is no records, you will get 0 here. So if any records is there, the corresponding record length you are able to get here. So once you got this one right, next what you need to do, you need to use one more decision. If the corresponding get records value is null, then you are going to simply update your parent status as completed. So if it is not null, then keep it as it is. Okay, so no need to do anything, so just keep it as it is. So here what we are trying to do, only four steps is required to in order to complete this requirement. Only four steps is required in order to complete this requirement. The first step, so you are going to verify task status here. So whether previously previously not completed, so now it is completed. So what you are going to do, so record dot status equal to completed, and prior record dot status not equal to completed. So you need to verify the condition here. So once you are done with this one, then you need to add get records. Within the get records, you need to add these two conditions. So parent id equal to record dot parent id. So here in the case of task, they are going to ask you what id. So parent, rather than using parent id, they are using what id or parent id. So the field is a little bit different for the task update. So if you're implementing a standard task object, the name should be different here. So what they are going to reference as what id or parent id. So you can use any one of these field. So what id equal to record that what id or parent id equal to record that parent id, you can use any one of that one. And then, so what you need to do, you need to verify status not equal to completed, status not equal to completed. So if you're able to use the second statement as get records with that one, so then after what you need to do, again you need to verify the condition, again you need to use the decision. Within the decision, you are going to verify the corresponding condition here. So whether the get records is null or not. If it is null, then directly you can use update record option based on lead parent id, whatever the task parent id, you need to fetch and then update the status. So within four actions, you can complete this requirement. Okay, so try to implement the logic now. So if you go with like this, right, you can easily fix this one. So otherwise, you need to query and you need to verify each and every record. That's like a tedious task. So rather than doing like that, what you can do, just simply verify what are the open tasks available in our lead object or not. So if any of the open task is available, then you can keep it as it is. So if there is no open task, then simply mark it as completed. That's it. Is it clear now?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes, please. Yes, Rika.
So try to
Yes.
implement this one. If you're facing any challenges, still if you're facing any challenges, let me know. So I will help you in our tomorrow's
Okay.
class.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shika.
So yesterday what we discussed about flows, calling from the auto launcher flow, calling from the record trigger flow. Okay. So as I mentioned, as I mentioned yesterday, auto launch flow is an actual representation of our Apex class. Our Apex class. Okay. So whatever the record triggers, we are having like a Apex triggers, right? These Apex trigger is exact representation of our record trigger flow. Okay, Apex trigger and then these record trigger flow both are initiated from the DML operation. So Apex class it never invoke by default. You need to invoke from some another process. So similar way, auto launcher flow it never invoke by itself. So you need to initiate from the different places. Either you can initiate from the process builder, or you can initiate from the record trigger flow, or you can initiate from the another auto launcher flow, or you can initiate from the scheduled flow, or you can initiate from the screen flow, or maybe you can initiate from the our lightning components. Okay, so you can initiate from any one of these sorts, but manually it never invoke. So here what we are going to do here in the sense, in record trigger flow you are going to implement a large number of conditions. Okay, large number of implementation you are going to do in this record trigger flow. So if you're having like a 50 to 60 conditions, then if you're trying to modify in one place, that will reflect in another changes in our flow. So to avoid such kind of conflicts, what we are going to do, whatever the main initiation point I am going to implement here, I am going to simply initiate here. From record trigger flow to the subflow, we are going to simply initiate our actual logic. So our actual logic we are going to implement here. So whatever the get records and all those things you are going to implement here. So now, so these flow here we are having a record prior and then record goal. So all the values available here by default. Why? Because it is invoked by DML operation. Because of that, whatever the triggered record and the trigger record prior values we are getting here by default, it is available. But in the auto launch flow, right, it never know. So which record is initiated, or what is the prior record of your record. So if you would like to use a prior record, or if you would like to use record information in these auto launch flow, what you need to, you need to pass information from our record trigger flow to the auto launch flow. So yesterday we discussed it, right? So if you would like to pass the information, then what we're going to do, you need to create a variable for that. You need to create a variable for that. So these variable you need to initialize here. These variable you need to initialize here. So these are the variable name of our subflow. That means our auto launch flow. It is our record trigger flow variable name. So here what happened? I'm trying to pass record here. I'm trying to pass record here. So if I would like to pass a prior record as well, then what we are going to do? Simply click on new resource and then try to create one variable here. So the variable is basically I'm going to give the prior record. So prior record. Okay, simply I'm specifying here. So prior record, and then the data type is basically it's a record type. Because of that, I am keeping a record here. So then after what I'm going to do, I'm going to specify object here. So the object is basically what type of object you are showing here. So we are implementing on the account, right? So that's why we are going to specify the corresponding account here. So here what we are doing, we are implementing record trigger on our account object, right? So because of that I'm just keeping this object name is record account. Okay, and then available for input, available for output. So I'm enabling these checkboxes. Why we are enabling these checkboxes, I will explain to you in our next class. So we are going to use implement screen flows. At the time we know about the specification about these available for input and then available for output. Okay, so now I'm simply click on done here. So what we are doing, we are just creating one resource. We are just creating one resource. So these resources, it is in a variable. We are storing values temporarily, storing values temporarily. So now may not change shape. Yeah, just give me one moment. Yeah. So I need to verify what are the variables available. Only our one record available. I'm going to create a new resource that is a prior record. So here it is in a temporary data. We are like storing until this execution is happened. So prior record. I'm specifying the corresponding variable name. Type of data is basically I'm storing a record. So that's why I'm using this one. If you would like to store multiple values, then we need to enable this checkbox. So otherwise, you can like go with as it is. So then after I'm trying to choose the corresponding object name, account, and then I'm selecting these two options here. So once we are done, so the player record got created. So this variable got created. So now what you are going to do, so just try to refresh this one and then we'll see. So we can like pass the values here. We can pass the values here, whatever the prior record value, and then whatever the uh, like record values, all those things you can pass it from here. So in our decision, we are not doing anything, right? So just what we can do for the like a default outcome. So I am going to like initiate this flow. Within this flow, I'm going to call the corresponding activities here. So whatever the batch 34, I'm calling this one. So here, whatever the like a name, so address update, contact address update, like this. I'm like using this one. So then after a record, so I think it's not at save. Not yet saved. Because of that, I'm not getting any values here. So whatever the changes you did, you need like save that one and then activate. So then only you are able to like get these values. So that's why. So here I was not saved. So because of that, so whatever the like new variable name is not available in our record flow. Now again I'm trying to refresh. So just now I'm like done with save, as well as I have activated this flow, this subflow. So now I'm going to add this subflow here. I'm going to add this subflow here. Whatever the subflow we have created, the subflow name I'm like choosing here. So here what happened, prior record and then record, both the values available here. So now I'm like simply specifying a contact update, address update. Simply I'm specifying here. So if you would like to pass the values, or if you don't want to pass the values, you can enable and then disable here. So here whatever the variables you have created in your auto launch flow, do you want to pass the values or do you want to like hide the values, you can simply control here. So here if I would like to pass the value, then I'm going to enable this one. So here whatever the prior record, you can simply select here. Whatever the prior record, you can simply select here. So a record, prior record should be there. So prior record should be there, but it is not displaying here. Okay, so what I can do, I'm going to create like one variable in our record trigger flow as well. But generally, the prior record option is available. Maybe like recent releases, it may be like revoked or not. I'm not sure. But so what we're going to do, I'm like simply creating a prior record here. So whatever the like prior record variable, I'm like simply storing here. So this value accepting record, and then object is account. In our record trigger flow also, I am creating like this prior value variable. Why? Because it was not available. Because of that, I am choosing here. So once you are done with these two, then simply select here. So whatever the variable you have created, you need to like assign the corresponding values record prior from these text box. So what you can do, so you are going to use some assignment here. So within this assignment, you can simply assign our previous record values to our prior record variable. So what you are going to do, so assign prior record values. So simply what we are going to do, whatever the prior record, I'm like assigning values equals to whatever the previous record. Why it is not available here? Just one moment. Just one minute. Why it is not displaying? I'm like trying to refresh one more time. It is behaving weird. So you should be having a prior record in our variables, but it is not displaying. Not sure why it is not.
Shrikant, I think we have to create created or updated that time it will be show.
So already we are using like a record is created.
Yeah, created or updated.
So
Yes,
yesterday
that
we have
means.
selected these options, right? Maybe like because of changes we haven't selected. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I think we will get it. Yeah. Now it is called. We got it. So yesterday we have enabled this one, but maybe because of my save mistake, it was revoked, I guess. Okay. So what we are going to do? We are asking. We are like adding this one, and then label contact address update. So whatever the prior record value, I'm assigning to this variable, and whatever the record value, I'm assigning to this variable, and then simply click on that. So then after, I'm calling from here. So that what happened, right? Whenever this corresponding action is invoked, then automatically it is going to call the subflow here. Okay, within the subflow, whatever the activities do you want to perform, you can perform here. So now we are like simply save this one, and then you can activate this flow. So though that whenever the corresponding condition is met, then automatically the corresponding trigger will work. So here you can implement whatever the logic you want. So what I'm going to do first, I'm like trying to verify whether the corresponding address is modified or not. So if you would like to verify, so then what you need to do, you need to use address update or not. So simply I'm using this one. So here what we are going to do, account address update, and then I'm going to verify. So already we are having like a record and then pre-record, both the values available. You can simply compare these options. So record dot building city is not equals to, does not equals to. So I'm going to like verify prior record dot building city. So like that, whatever the logic yesterday we have built, right, same logic you need to build here. Okay, but the only difference here it is you need to pass the parameters. Only the difference here it is you need to pass the parameters. In our record trigger flow, directly you are able to access a record and then prior record values. But in our auto launch flow, it don't know anything. So whatever the instructions given by the source, so based on the instructions, it is going to execute it. So here the source is basically our record trigger flow. So similar way, if you're like, if it is calling from the, if it is calling from the like process builder, the source is a process builder for that. So whatever the instructions given by the source, it is going to execute that part as it is. Okay, so it never execute like on its own. So whatever the instructions given by its source, so based on that, it is going to execute it. So here, whatever the logic yesterday we have implemented, same logic I am going to specify here. So we need to fetch the records, and then we need to use all those things. So building country. So all these values I am going to verify it here. Does not equals to prior record of building country. So building state does not equals to prior record dot billing state, and then billing state does not equals to prior record of building state. So as of now, I'm giving like these four values only, but we can go with like the another one is zip code as well. So I'm like simply verifying. So all conditions are like are operator only. So then after click on done. So like here I'm like trying to connect these two. So from this one, what you can do, you can like add next values here. Add next values here. So compared to our record trigger flow, so here you are able to get the more actions here. Here you are able to get the more actions here. So these actions available in our record trigger flow as well. But in the case of like before trigger, we don't have an option of delete records and then create records. But in the case of like these after triggers, you will get like create records, update records, get records, and then delete records. In the case of record trigger flow, we do it for like wait for conditions and wait for amount of time, wait until date. So these options are not available, but in our auto launch flow, these options are available. So now what you are going to do, you need to fetch the records here. So you need to fetch the records here. So get contact records. Whatever the contact I am specifying. So from here, what you are going to do, the account ID, what you need to, whatever the contacts associated with your account, the corresponding contacts, you need to fetch it. So account ID equals to our record.id. So our record.id. So that what happened, right? Whatever the records associated, whatever the records associated with this account, we are fetching here. So here what we're trying to do, I am like trying to fetch from the contact object. So the contacts, how we are going to fetch, account id equal to record.id. And then do you want to go with any sorting order, or like all the records we need to fetch it? So do you want to fetch any specific field values? Then you can go with the specific field values only. I would like to go with mailing I would like to go with mailing city and then mailing country only. So rather than fetching like all the values, so all the field values, whatever the like options available. So mailing country, mailing state, mailing street, and then mailing postal code. I am simply fetching these field values from our contact record. So now I am clicking on done here. So then after I am going to connect these two. So and then once we are like done with this one, so then as usual use for loop, and then you are going to iterate it, and then go for like a assignment, and then finally you can go for like a update operation here. So now what you need to do, you need to go with loop. So within the loop, just update the records, create a contact record, collection variable, whatever the records we are fetching, the corresponding collection variable we are using. So here what happened, right? So when we are like using get records, these get records, it is going to fetch some record. So here what we're trying to do, simply I'm like trying to iterate these records, whatever the records fetched in our get records option. So now I am using loop. So within the loop, what we are going to do, from first item to last item, it is going to simply iterate it. So here whatever the records fetched in our get contact, whatever the records fetched in our get contact, we are able to like iterating here. So simply I am using this one. So then what I'm going to do, I'm like using assignment. I'm using assignment here. So within this assignment, update contact, what you need to do, you just need to like go the corresponding current item from the loop. So here whatever the address we are having, so mailing city equals to our record dot billing city, I am assigning here billing city, simply I am assigning here. So current item dot mailing country equals to record dot billing country. So like this, we can like add all the variables here, like state, city, and then like a zip code. All the values you can add it here, and then simply click on done. So then after you can connect this one. So here what we are going to do. So once for the each item in the collection, each item in the collection from the first record to the last record, we are able to send it to the this assignment. In this assignment, right, we are going to update the corresponding value, and then back it to the this corresponding iterate contact option. So once we are done with all these changes, then what we are going to do, we are going to use update record option from our loop. We are going to like use this option. So update contact, and then so what we are going to do. So you are like a simply specify the condition to identify records, and then go with the manual option. So here you need to choose the second option. The option is basically contact. Sorry, here we need to go with the first option here, contacts from the get contact. So whatever the like records we are fetching, simply you choose that corresponding option and then click on done. So then finally, after the last record, I am going to connect these two. So if I'm able to do it like this, right, then it is going to work as we expected. It is going to work as we expected. Simply click on save, and then I am going to activate this subflow. Activate this subflow. So we are like a simply using like this one. Okay, so in future like if you would like to make any changes in your record trigger flow, then you can directly go with these subflow, and then you can directly make the changes. Okay, but in the case of like if you implemented everything here, right, it's like a very clumsy, and because of even small mistake, if it is entire thing maybe sometime broken. But in the case of like if you're like using subflow, then what happen, if any of the issue happening in one flow, only that particular subflow will fail, and remaining thing will execute as it is, and remaining thing will execute as it is without any break, without like any issue. Remaining thing will execute as it is. Only this subflow may be broken. This subflow may be broken here. Okay, so the thing here it is the thing here it is, in the case of these decision. So whatever the like things we need to like initiate it, we are like just verifying all the decision, all the conditions here, and then you need to segregate your requirements. So if you are like if you're having like address update requirement, you just segregate from decision to the this flow. So similar way, whatever the data do you need to fetch it, the corresponding data you can fetch it, and then you can initiate the subflow. So like that you can implement multiple things here. You need to implement multiple things here, so that what happen in future, if you would like to go with any specific change, you just directly go to the this flow, and then you can make the changes. So if you're like dividing like this, if you're having any issue with this flow, only this particular functionality won't work, remaining will work as it is. But in the case of if you're not implementing like that, and everything you have implemented here, if any issue is happening in one of the small functionality, entire flow will fail. Entire flow will fail. So to avoid such kind of issues, we are using these corresponding subflow concept here. Okay, so these flow we can initiate from the these record trigger flow, and then process builder as well. So when we are like working with the process builder, we are having a concept called the flow, right? So at the time what we are going to do, we are initiating these flow. We are initiating these flow, so you can pass the parameters as well. So now if you would like to pass if you would like to call from the apex, or if you would like to pass the parameters, then what you need to do, in our apex class, what we need to, we are going to define the corresponding variable is at the rate invocable, at the rate invocable. So like this you need to use the annotation, and then what you are going to do, in your flow side, you need to create a you need to create like a new resource here. What you can do, if you're like trying to create new resource, then you are able to get the option here. So whatever the like variable, so within the variable you are having type called apex defined. You are having type called apex defined. So if you're able to specify this one, and then here you need to select the corresponding Apex class name. So if the class is having at the rate invocable, then you are able to get the corresponding Apex class name. So then automatically what happened, right? Whatever the data from Apex class, if you would like to pass it, you can pass it with the help of these Apex defined variables. With the help of these Apex defined variables. So here, what are the classes available in my org? So all the classes by default available here. So here, if you would like to, specify any of the field value, then what you need to do, you need to specify the corresponding field value with the at the rate invocable annotation, at the rate invocable annotation, so that you are able to get it here, so that you are able to get the corresponding variable in these auto launch flow. So if you would like to pass the parameters, or if you like receive the parameters, with the help of these option only, you are able to pass and then receive the data from Apex variables. Receive the data from Apex variables. So is it clear? Are anyone having any questions here so far?
Clear, sir.
Anyone having any questions?
No, Shri.
So if you don't have any questions, then we can move. So as I mentioned, just prepare one class and then try to access your Apex class variables here. Okay, so it will helpful to you. It will help to you like whatever the class variables you have defined. So along with that, whatever the way of passing data from flow to the Apex class, Apex to the flow, you can get here. Okay, so simply I'm done with this one, and then I'm going to already it is an activity, right? So then no issue. So generally what we're going to do, so we are implementing all this functionality. Maybe sometimes what happened, right? We are going to reuse this functionality. We are going to reuse this functionality. For example, if I am implementing this entire logic here, this entire logic here, so maybe same functionality I need to initiate from a different source as well. Same functionality I need to initiate from the different source as well. So then what we are going to do, we are going to implement one more time. So rather than doing like that, what we need to do, so here whatever the whatever the data available, so these flow you can invoke from the another place as well. So these flow you can invoke from the another place as well. Okay, so whatever the data, whatever the data you are using, so the same similar type of requirement you may be initiating from the different places. So just now we are discussing about one of the requirement, right? The requirement is basically we need to update the lead status task. So similar way we are having a requirement, the requirement is basically based on the task, I'm going to mark as opportunity as well. Based on the task, I am going to update a opportunity task as well. So what are the opportunities we are having? So based on our task status, you need to update the opportunity status. So similar way you have one more object at the time also going to use the same way. So now your requirement is if you are implementing the functionality for opportunity and then some account object, so that what happened, right? So it is going to increase the complexity of your requirement, complexity of your flow. So rather than doing like this, what you need to, you just need go with these auto launching flow, and these auto launching flow you can invoke from the three places. So these auto launching flow you can invoke from the three places. If you are able to invoke, if you are able to so invoke, then no need to implement in multiple places. So simply you can execute simply you can execute the corresponding logic even without implementing in our main page. So only one place you are going to do it, and then you can access the corresponding functionalities. Only one place you are implementing, but still you can access the corresponding functionalities in all record trigger flows. Okay, so it is really helpful to you for reusability, mainly reusability. Okay, that is also one of the main advantage if you are using auto launching flow. And next one is as I mentioned, so rather than implementing in one place, you can implement in sorry, rather than implementing in multiple places, you can implement in one place, and then you can access from multiple places. You can access from multiple places. So along with that, whatever the changes required in your like record trigger flow, so rather than doing like a changes directly in your record trigger flow, you can make changes in your you can make changes in our like a subflow here. It is also helpful to you. So these are the like advantages in auto launch flow. As I mentioned, it's like only few options are like these options only available. But the thing here it is, it never invoked by itself. So what we need to, we need like invoke by any one of these we need to like invoke by any one of these automation tools. So like a process builder, or like a flow, or like a screen flow, or like another auto launch flow, or you can go with uh, or you can like go with Avesticker LWC. So from different places you can invoke this one. Okay, data by default is not available, but you can get the data with the help of variables. So while initiating, so you can simply set the corresponding variables over here. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, it is.
Anyone having any questions?
Shrikant, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Actually, I did yesterday's assignment in actually scenario. Parent, we have to update the account parent type. So
Mhm.
yesterday you select the parent entities, but I did there is no option is given.
Sorry, parent entity.
Parent entities you selected na, so I did this scenario, but this option is not showing parent
Mm.
entities.
So
Yes.
usually it is available for us. Maybe you are not using proper event type, because of that you are not getting, I guess.
No,
Can
no.
you use like after insert and then after update, so that you are able to get a guess? Just go with the after insert and then after update, we'll see.
Okay.
Okay. So
Shrikant,
anyone?
I have one doubt. Are there any limitations in flow, such as when we are using that update records element? So restricting the number of records that can be updated. Any limitations?
Yeah. So as usual, our regular kernel limit is applicable to the flows as well.
Like 150 DML operation
So
in one flow.
here we are using like get records, right? These get
Mhm.
records, update records, create records. It is also counting against DML operations.
Okay. So it's
Okay.
better to
So
go with the loop and all
yeah.
instead of updating records directly.
Yes. So
Okay.
sometimes your system may be like very slow because of
Mhm.
these flows having multiple updates and then create record options. So that's why
Mhm.
try to like avoid all these things, such kind of things. Okay. So if it is really required, then only we need to go with the multiple for loops and then multiple get records and update records options.
Mhm. Are there any best practices while using flows?
While using flow, so the condition checks you need to do it properly.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're like able to like do conditional check, right, then majority of your like logic will be filtered. For example, if you're like directly calling these contact address update, then each and every account record, whatever the record modified, it is trying to update all the contact records. But our requirement is whenever account address is modified, then only we need to modify it. Okay, so if
Mhm.
account address is update and you need to modify in sense, you need to verify whether the address field is modified or not. So just now we have implemented the condition, right? So the corresponding address field is modified. Similar way, you need to like verify whether the address field is modified. Then only you need to like you need to initiate the logic. So not only this one, any logic. First you need to like verify conditions properly. Then only go for actual logic.
Okay. So all governor limits are also applied here in flows also,
So
right?
if you're using like a trigger and then record trigger flow, so it is like counting against both the trigger and the record trigger flow values. So for example, in trigger you are using like 100 and the record trigger flow you're getting like a 60, then your record trigger flow will fail.
Okay, combine.
Yeah. So Gaussian limits for transaction 150. You are using like a process builder, flow, or trigger, whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay. So total like records is basically so 150.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. So any more questions from anyone?
Sir,
Yeah.
I have wonder, sir. Inside of account object, we can use custom object.
Yeah. As a child object, you can create it. Okay. Inside custom object inside account instance, that is a custom object as a child.
Okay. Can you tell one example?
So under this account already we have created multiple objects. So I'm just navigating. So account and then school. So these two are like having a master relationship, I guess. Okay, it is child of our account object. Contacts. Yeah, students and then employees, batches. So these all are custom objects under our account object. Okay, maybe if you would like to go with the custom task functionality of your opportunity, under that opportunity, you can create one custom task object. Okay, so you cannot create a object within the object, but you can create a object as a child or parent. Okay,
Okay. Sir, how to create lookup relationship with standard and custom objects?
lookup you can create it, but master data you cannot create it.
Okay.
Okay, directly you cannot create it. So you can like just go to object and then fields. So click on new and then create a new field. And while creating new field, you can select a lookup relationship.
Okay.
Okay, team. So I have a demo now. So you can go for lunch. We'll meet at 2 p.m.
Okay, Shrikant.
So anyone having any questions before leaving?
No, Shrikant.
Yes, you can see.